Get the out my life, talking about some stop gay bash. I ain't never bashed no gays, you stupid. Did not say nothing about no gays. I said something about Dwyane Wade and his sons, the they got going on. I ain't got nothing against no gay people. Y'all love flipping on me. I ain't got nothing against no gay people. Got gay people in my family. Got gay people work for me. Got nothing against no gay people. Y'all always flipping this on me.
You said the same thing earlier. A white person would be like, I got a black. That's exactly what I was saying.
That is the equivalent.
That's what you say. That sounded like what racist people say.
Yeah, that's why we say that black men, not all of y'all, but black men are the white people of the black community because they say stuff like that. That you're not getting how homophobic that is. You're not getting how that's not.
That absolutely is an attack.
That is an attack, and that's not just because you got gay people in your family does not mean that you're not trash. It just doesn't.
And it goes the same way because I have cousins who respect me, love me to death, know that I'm gay, but I see them online talking trash about the gay community, like talking all these things, and I'm like, coming on their post, knock knock, hey, like, I can see this, you know that, right? And it's no, you know me,
not you,
not you,
this ain't for
but
you.
Everybody else, but you talking about my people, like shit, like it's
that's
not
crazy.
Cool.
So, some people still not only not have a problem with what Boosie said, they don't understand why that's inflammatory or why that would be hurtful. And that's just real because you see people reposting, laughing, making memes. So if you had a chance to say something, what would you say? Like, how would you?
You have a platform and you're influencing people, whether you didn't mean it or not. Mm-hmm. These people are looking up to you. There are children looking up to you. So I just think that you should use your platform right.
I read a comment yesterday, and then I can't think of the guy's name. However, in a nutshell, he was basically saying a lot of these people, including Boosie, agreeing with him, they don't know any better. You know, they were raised with conditional love. They were raised with all types of barriers. They really couldn't be themselves. And I'm not just speaking of sexual identity or orientation. I'm not just speaking of anything like that. I'm speaking overall. You know, they had so many stipulations put on them as a little human growing up. So all they know is to bash what we don't accept. It's it was taught. So, you know, they don't know many Dwyane Wades who are unconditional, you know, love parents. They never got that really. You know, we all say, you know, our parents loved us and they did this. Of course, but that unconditional is deep rooted, and a lot of us just don't know it. Just don't know it and can't relate to it.
I agree with everybody what they said so far. I do think that, you know, you having that type of platform and that type of influence on people, that's something that could have went completely different. Boosie could have came out and said, you know, hey, what D-Wade is doing, you know, he loves his kids, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate that as a father. I love my kids, too. I don't want to talk about that. How about I talk about the influence that I have put inside the black community that's been negative to influence drug use, selling dope, going in and out of prison, all those types of things, to let folks know, hey, y'all can do better. Let's do better. I've seen how it affected my family. I don't want to see this trend continuing. But instead, he decided to go and take a hateful route and spread that kind of hate and say, hey, I don't agree with this. I don't want that, when nobody even asked for his opinion. And so that was very unwarranted, and it can continue to harm our communities. And even before, you know, he tried to come back with the whole Planet Fitness thing saying, I never bashed anybody, I never bashed the gay community. We got receipts. Like, one thing about it is we keep screenshots, we screen record, we have it all to go back and say, yeah, you did. It might have been a few months ago.
Occasions.
It might have been a year ago, but we still hold on to that, and you've never even apologized about that. And so it's extremely harmful.
So this is just an addition
to
what you've already shown us time and time again.
Keeps going. And at some point, it's got to stop, and somebody got to say, hey, Boosie, you got to chill, homie. Webby said it already once, but I mean, somebody's got to come back and let them know again.
Mm-hmm. And you have to understand that what you say has power. I remember, if you see recently, when, you know, Dave Chappelle had that comedy special, and, you know, he called the LGBT people the alphabet people. How many times since then have you heard them calling us the alphabet people? Like, it's tons of time. What you say influence marginalized people. What you say, they use as weapons against us, and it leads to incidents of violence a lot of times. If I'm out in public and you have said these things, you are especially somebody who is not mature. We want to assume that everybody has mature. They're not going to be doing this. But there's some people out here that are crazy, and you are leading them to believe that our life don't have value, our life don't have meaning, and when they have to decide whether I kill you or not, you are setting the standard for them to kill us. That's just what it is. And we see it in the statistics. Yeah. That's the real life of a trans woman. That's the real life of just queer people in general. Oh, yeah. It's just what it is.
So the average lifespan of a trans woman is?
Of a black trans woman is age 35. Most black trans women don't make it past the age 35.
In 2019, most of the trans women who was murdered, the 25 who were, they were under 30.
Under 30. Yeah.
There was a 17-year-old trans woman that was murdered. She was the youngest.
Yes.
And murdered by black men. Like murdered by the ones who are supposed to be there to help protect our community, but are doing the exact opposite.
And I want to also make this point. Most of the murders that are happening to black trans women aren't by
strangers.
And they aren't by people who are misled. These trans women aren't tricking these people. These people are having full-blown relationships with these people, and they don't want people to find out. So they do what society says. Oh, if you don't know, then you need to harm them, and they
especially if it
them,
leaks.
Unfortunately,
especially if it leaks, it's like it's over, and it goes back to, in my opinion, raising your child to be comfortable with who they are, because a lot of them are just not comfortable with who they are and the choices they've made, so they result to violence.
All oppression is connected. So when we talk about statistics and numbers, I'm always about numbers. So CDC released information, research that said that black women, cis or trans, black women are more likely than other demographic, only one that is less is like Native American, more likely than other demographics to be murdered by their intimate partner, to be affected by domestic violence. So it is the people who we are in partnership with. It is the people that we are that love us. It is the people that we are intimately involved with, and we are the least likely to date outside of our race as black women. So out of all other demographics. So it is our men who are murdering us, and it's something that men need to talk about amongst each other, because this is affecting cis women and trans women. So this is a conversation that needs to be had. We need to, I know when we say trans, it kind of alienates us, but understand that our oppression is connected. Black women, we have to be in solidarity with each other, even just to fix this problem. And we're not silly. We don't think that we're exactly like you. We know you have a period. We know you have all this stuff. We know. We're not silly.
It's a whole other topic.
It's just a whole exactly. But we are in community, and we are being harmed by people, and being in solidarity will help.
Oh yes,
it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And just one more thing I want to say is that you wake up every day, you have an option to hate or not. Love is not an option. Love is something that's natural. It's just how you're born with. You choose to teach hate and drive out that hate. That's an option that you've made. So I encourage everybody, whoever's listening and watching, like, choose love and like spread that. Like, make sure that your kids know, hey, bullying ain't right. Don't go to school doing that. Don't be that kid. Because if it was me and mama found out that I was up there bullying, she was coming with my ass in front of the students that I'm up there messing with.
And
like, you too big for that. Like, chill out. Like,
I want to piggyback off of the conversation from the caller earlier when he said, he wouldn't allow his child to, he would, basically support his child, but not necessarily let him go to a pride parade, just like he wouldn't let him go to Mardi Gras, which is understood. I just hope that all parents, when you have a unique situation with your child growing up, that you find some type of outlet to allow them to be free, allow them to open up. It may not be a pride parade. That's fine if you don't think, because I'm a firm believer, raise your child. That's the main thing I've been posting and commenting on these Dwyane Wade posts. Like, that's his child. You can't tell anyone how to raise their child, because the minute someone tells you how to raise your child, you're going off. Everybody want to go off. What's the difference? That's his child. We can all give our opinions, but at the end of the day, that's all they are. But make sure you're providing your child with some type of outlet to let them know that, hey, I'm heard, I can be myself, I'm loved, and I'm free. Some type of outlet. It's very important.
Because the world is going to be vicious to them. Understand that. Because you can say, oh, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to expose my child to this. But when they go out in the world and you're not around, it can be positive, it could be negative. You don't know what they're gonna run into.
Right.
If they have that foundation at home,
if they can come
run
talk
back
to you
home and say, you know what,
I got a
have
question, Mama. I got a question, Daddy.
And I have a question. Not that, okay, I'm receiving backlash from the world, from home. And guess what? You know what? I'll just off myself. Yeah. And this is just the reality. This is just the reality.
My mindset has been for the longest is that my mama know, my mama love me. I could give a fuck about what anybody else got to say or think. Like, I'm good. I got a home to go to. Like, I'm blessed. I'm privileged to be able to say that and I have that. But that's made all the difference for me in my life to live and not die.
Absolutely. And we all have the will. We all know the world is against us. Once we're young and we realize that, we learn to hide it. We learn that you can't talk about it. I remember when I was little, if I knew speaking in a feminine tone, I would speak fast. When I would ask her questions in elementary, I would speak really fast so they wouldn't clock the femininity in me. But I learned to hide it. And eventually, when we talk about men, well, why you didn't tell it? Why? Think about men who are on the down low or somebody, all that kind of stuff. We always say, well, why you didn't say nothing? The reason why we don't say nothing is because this is a type of backlash. Because we don't give them freedom to say, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to be, regardless. And I think that's a connection with the gay and the gender identity. Like, we don't allow our children to come, or people, period, particularly men, to come, period, and honest and explore who they are in their sexual, in their expression, and all of that. We don't give them the freedom to do that.